Hi guys, Goffy here and welcome back to the channel. And before we kick off, I want to say thank you to you guys that watched my previous M10 monochrome video because you gave me a lot of love on that video down in the comments, and it was really nice to see you guys enjoying a video as much as I enjoyed making it. It was one of those ones I enjoyed making and they typically flop, but instead you guys flocked to it and you left some really cool comments. And one of the things you left in the comments was all about filters. So you spoke and I listened and I picked up some colour filters, and that's what we're going to be messing around with today. Now, I did have a bit of an accident. I made a bit of a mistake with my filters, and can you see what the mistake is? Yep, one of them, the green one, is bigger than all the others. I had one job, log on to Amazon and buy 3 different filters that were the same size, and I messed it up. So we're going to try and use the green filter to some extent, but it's not going to fit my lenses properly. But the 3 filters that we do have then are a yellow one, a red one, and a green one. And today we're going to go out and shoot them and just see what they do. I've done a little bit of research since you guys all commented the other day, so I have a bit of a vague idea what they do. And today we've got a pretty dull overcast day, so I think we're going to split this video into 2 parts. We're going to have a dull overcast day like today, and then hopefully a sunny day later in the week where we can actually try these filters out on a bright blue sky, because that's going to be just as important, I think, as the actual scenery when it comes to trying these out. I'm excited to get going, so yeah, let's go outside and I'll do my best to explain what they do, but then we're going to see some before and afters of just about every single one. Well, that didn't really go to plan. I don't know if you can tell, but it is definitely not just a few minutes after that first clip. Things didn't go to plan. It rained straight after I finished recording, then I tore a muscle in my leg and couldn't barely walk for a couple days. But now we are out. Now I guess the first question is, why would you want filters in the first place, especially ones that look like a bloody traffic light? Now, the real reason for this is the fact that because this is a true monochrome camera and it takes real black and white images with no color data, the sliders that you could use instead of these filters aren't an option. So if you're just converting color pictures to black and white, you can use these sliders in Lightroom. But because this is a true monochrome camera, unfortunately, it's not an option. It's very much like shooting film, black and white film. You can't put color into it because there's no color there. So that's why you need these filters. I guess next up, what do they actually do? Now, to be honest with you, I don't fully know, and that's half the reason why we're out here testing it. But from a little bit of research, the main reason that people use these filters is to add some contrast to the image. Now, the varying different filters add different amounts of contrast. Now, my understanding at a really high level is the color of the filter. That color in your image will become brighter. So if you're using a yellow filter, yellow tones will be brighter, they'll have a lighter value, whereas the color on the opposite side of the color wheel will become darker. Now, if you think about these filters and quick image of a color wheel, the filters are red, yellow and green. They're all on this side of the color wheel, whereas the blues and purples are on the other side. Now, that means the blues and purples become darker. Now, one of the big reasons that people use these filters is to darken their blue skies. But for me, there's not a single bit of blue sky at all. So we're going to come out again tomorrow, maybe towards the end of this video, we'll get some blue sky, because that is one of the important reasons that these are used. But we're going to be doing lots of comparisons today, take lots of the same image with each filter, to have a little bit of a play and see if there's one filter that I'll actually use all of the time, because I think that's what I want to get out of this video. So yeah, let's go and have a look at some examples. So let's kick this off with the red filter then. This is the one that I'm expecting to be the most extreme. Now in theory, anything that's red in an image should become brighter. So this fire and rescue service here in Overton, them doors should get very bright. Now here's what the image looks like, just standard monochrome image. I've not done anything to this one. And then with the red filter, the red really does turn extremely light. It almost doesn't look right. There's something about this image, when I look at it, that just feels a little bit unnatural. Now, quickly hopping between the two, you can see the effect here is really extreme because there was a lot of red in the image. Then moving to more of a landscape image, here's a field, and it's not really red, it's more browns in this image, but the same thing happens. You stick the red filter on, and look how much brighter the kind of vegetation down at the bottom of the image gets. The effect of this filter is really quite extreme. So something else to bear in mind with this is the fact that the filters are also NDs. They are neutral density as well, so you are going to lose some light getting to your camera. And I think this is one of the reasons why with film photography you see a lot of people using yellow filters, because they tend to not stop that much light, maybe just like 1 stop, whereas I think this red filter I've got might actually be 2 stops of light. It's a really deep red, And that's also, I guess, a little bit more where the fun comes into it. You can get so many different colours and also different densities of that colour as well. So the red filter is pretty extreme that I've got here. So next up then, let's take a look at the green filter. So anything that is green in an image should become brighter, and anything that's kind of purple magenta toned should become darker. Taking this as our example, you can see there's some green grass in here and also some pavement. That pavement is a little bit magenta in tone. Here's the normal monochrome image, and then here's the one with the green filter applied. And you can see that the grass has become a little bit brighter in this image, and the pavement specifically has actually become quite a bit darker. The effect is reasonably subtle, but if you were to apply this to an image that had far more green in it, like this one, then the effect is definitely a little bit more prominent, but it is still reasonably discreet. It's not a filter that absolutely blows your mind like that red one did. It's far more subtle, and you know what? I kind of like it. Now the other thing that's been a lot of fun today is normally, if you're shooting black and white film, you can mess around with these filters, but you've got to wait 2 weeks to get your results. Being able to see the results live straight away is definitely something I'm having a lot of fun with today, and it's helping me kind of understand what these filters do without having that big time lag that you get with film. So that's definitely been a benefit of the M10 Monochrome today, is just being able to see the results quickly. The other thing as well is NDs don't really matter because the ISO capabilities of the M10 Mono are insane. So just pushing it a couple of extra stops on ISO to compensate for the ND doesn't really affect my image quality at all. Then we have the yellow filter. This is probably the one I was most excited to try because I think it's going to be pretty subtle. Now because it's yellow, we should see brighter yellows and darker kind of purples and reds, but because yellow is next to green, we may also see brighter greens. Now having a look at this first image, you can see that happening. Most of the colours in this image, you're going to have to trust me, I didn't take a video of it, are green and yellow. And you can see the whole image feels brighter even though it's shot at the same exposure. Now this is really interesting because I personally do quite like images that feel a little bit brighter than normal. Then looking at this image that we looked at earlier, you can see it happening again. The kind of foliage or the vegetation down at the bottom of the image looks a little bit brighter. Not as extreme as the red, just a little bit brighter. And overall, the image does look a little bit more contrasty with the filter than it does without. We've got some good news. We have finally got some nice sunny weather. We've got some bright blue sky, and we've got some nice clouds up there too. So I think it's time we actually took these filters and tried them out on some blue sky. So we're going to take a walk. I think we're going to get some pretty nice images today, and then let's take a look at them. So here we have our first scene. It's the church down in Overton, and we finally got some white clouds and blue sky, something that I've been waiting all week to be able to get. When we have a look at the monochrome image, it looks like this with no filters applied, and as soon as we go to the red one, the effect is very strong. The skies are a lot darker, and the church itself is actually quite a lot lighter. The yellow filter feels like somewhere in the middle, and the yellow and green filter actually feel very, very similar. I've actually struggled to tell them apart now in quite a few of the tests we've seen. When you look at them all at the same time, at a glance, I feel like it looks like they're all very similar, but when you really look at it, the differences are pretty stark. That red one really, really does add some contrast to the sky. Looking at another scene down in Overton Village, this scene here, the normal monochrome to the red one, big, big difference to the sky. Again, with that yellow filter being somewhere in the middle. And I think that's making me really enjoy this yellow filter. It's got a strong-ish effect, but not so strong like the red one. And again, if we compare them all to each other again, this is what they look like. And again, at a glance, it feels like maybe they're not that different, but the more you look, the more differences there are. I am really enjoying the yellow filter. I feel like the red one might be a bit too strong for me, and the green one, very similar to the yellow, but I think the yellow one just edges it out for me. And now we've looked at blue skies, I have realised there's one more thing that I've missed that I would like to look at, and that is skin tones. Because these filters, the red and yellow ones, are on that side of the spectrum, skin tones should actually come up a little bit and be a little bit brighter, which should lead to some really pleasing results. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to quickly head out with Claire, take some pictures, and see how these filters perform. Here we have it then, here are the skin tones. So no filter first of all, and then hopping to the red filter, skin tones are so bright, to me they look unnatural. Then moving to the yellow filter, skin tones are a little bit brighter than normal, but there's a bit of a kick of contrast overall. And then the green filter's gone the other way, skin tones are really quite dark. Looking at them all together, I actually think this is the test with the most extreme results. Red filter is very light, green filter is pretty dark, and it means I end up preferring the no filter and yellow filter. Now for me, up until this point, I was pretty torn between yellow and green, but this is it for me. My favourite is definitely the yellow. So in conclusion then, what do I think? Well, I think ultimately each of these filters has their own place. But for me, personally, with the stuff I do, I think this yellow filter might actually become a bit of a staple. I might just use this pretty much all of the time. The red filter was a little bit too strong, and between the yellow and the green, I actually found them very similar, but I think I sway slightly towards the yellow, especially from the portrait images. I think the portrait images was the thing that cemented the yellow for me. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, guys, please do not forget to like and subscribe. And I said this last time and it seemed to work. I know that lots of you guys watch my videos day in, day out, but you do not click that subscribe button. I can see it in the stats. So if that is you, please consider liking and subscribing and get ready for episode 3 of this monochrome month. I'm having a great time. Hopefully you are too. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.